Every syllable of the multiplication table sliced through me like a razor as Nathan's lips formed, 7 times 9 is 63. The champagne glass in my hand suddenly weighed 1,000 pounds. My vision tunneled to the slightest curl at the corner of his mouth. That smirk I'd once found charming now revealed its true nature. Behind him, Vanessa's shoulders shook with silent laughter as she pointed her phone camera at my face, recording my supposed ignorance. "She has no idea," Nathan mouthed, his eyes gleaming with malice while his hand tenderly caressed my cheek. I could recite the phone book and my deaf little fool would think it's Shakespeare. The blood in my veins turned to ice. I could hear him, every single word. The experimental procedure last week had succeeded beyond anyone's expectations, but I'd kept it to myself, wanting to surprise Nathan. Instead, I was the one receiving the surprise. "My name is Olivia. I'm 31 and a graphic designer. This is the story of how I turned 3 years of mockery into the most satisfying justice of my life. 3 years ago, I'd pushed Nathan out of the path of a delivery truck. The resulting head trauma had damaged my auditory nerves, plunging me into a world of silence. Nathan had been my rock, helping me navigate a soundless existence with endless patience. Or so I thought. Our friends marveled at his devotion. What a saint, they'd say, to stand by a deaf girlfriend when he could have anyone. How romantic that he'd remove my hearing aid to create our private moments, where he'd mouth his declarations of love. Now I understood why Vanessa, my supposed best friend, always watched these tender moments with such interest. They weren't witnessing devotion. They were participating in an elaborate joke at my expense. "Do you think she'll cry when you propose with the multiplication tables?" Vanessa's exaggerated whisper carried perfectly to my restored hearing. "Probably," Nathan laughed. "How pathetic is that? After I get the Henderson contract next month, I might finally drop her. Her usefulness is running out." The Henderson contract, the one based on my Luminosity design series that had mysteriously disappeared from my computer after Nathan helped organize my files during my recovery. The award-winning design that had made him the youngest project director in the firm's history. I forced my facial muscles to arrange themselves into a perfect picture of adoration. 3 years of practice made it easy to hide the hurricane building inside me. Every cell in my body screamed to throw the champagne in his face, to scream the truth, to make them all pay immediately. But that would be too quick, too simple. What Nathan had taken from me couldn't be avenged with a momentary outburst. "Nathan," I signed, my hands steady despite the rage coursing through me. "What are you saying? It's too noisy in here." His face transformed instantly into the mask of devotion I'd trusted for years. He took my hands, his touch now revolting, and traced letters into my palm. "I love you. Will you marry me?" Our friends erupted in cheers. Vanessa clutched her phone tighter, no doubt capturing my reaction for their private amusement later. I allowed a single tear to trace down my cheek and nodded with practiced shyness. As the celebration exploded around us, I embraced Nathan, pressing my lips to his ear. With perfect clarity, in a voice I hadn't used with him in 3 years, I whispered, "I can hear every word you're saying, and I promise you'll regret each one." His body went rigid against mine. When I pulled back, his face had drained of color, his mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Before he could recover, I reached for the bottle of red wine on the table, maintained eye contact with him, and slowly poured it over his head. The room fell silent. Vanessa's shriek pierced the air as she rushed forward with napkins. "What are you doing?" she demanded, frantically dabbing at Nathan's ruined shirt. I removed my hearing aid, the prop I'd worn all day despite not needing it, and dropped it into his wine-soaked lap. "I forgot to mention," I said, my voice rusty from disuse, but perfectly audible. "My hearing was restored last week. I heard everything you all said, every single word." Shock rippled through the room. Nathan's friends, people who had smiled to my face for years, while apparently laughing behind my back, froze in horror. Nathan himself looked like he might vomit, his complexion ashen against the crimson wine dripping down his face. "Olivia," he croaked, reaching for me. "It was just a joke. Please let me explain. 7 times 9 is 63, I interrupted, my voice cold. That's correct, by the way. It's 63. Maybe focus on getting your math right before trying to fool someone. I turned to leave, but Nathan lunged after me, grabbing my wrist. Olivia, wait! I love you. I only did it because... His phone rang, cutting him off. I took it from his pocket and answered on speaker. Ms. Patterson, your car is waiting outside the restaurant, the driver announced. Thank you. I'll be right out. I hung up and removed Nathan's grip from my arm. Someone who actually respects me is waiting. You are no longer anyone to me. Panic seized his features. Olivia, please, he begged, his voice rising. It was stupid. I was wrong. We're about to get married. The other diners were staring now. Nathan was trying to use public pressure against me, but I wasn't the same woman who had sacrificed her hearing for him 3 years ago. I looked at him calmly, then slapped him across the face with enough force to snap his head sideways. That, I said evenly, is for the woman I was 3 years ago. Goodbye, Nathan. I walked out of the restaurant with my head high. Only when I was safely in the car did I allow the tears to come, calling my sister on video chat. I'd arranged this car service 2 days ago after discovering through my restored hearing how Nathan really felt about me. Olivia. What's wrong? Julia's concerned face appeared on screen. The dam broke. 3 years of betrayal poured out between sobs. When I finished, there was silence, then a whoop of joy. You can hear me! Oh my God, Liv, wait, that bastard did what? Her elation transformed into fury. I'm going to destroy him. Right now. No, I said, wiping my tears away. Destroying him is too easy. I want him ruined, completely and utterly ruined. What's the plan? Julia asked, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. First, we pull our investment from his startup. Then we compile all the transaction records and the promissory note he signed. My voice grew stronger with each word. And most importantly, we retrieve all my original design files for Luminosity from your backup server. After my accident, Nathan had deleted all traces of my work from my devices, thinking there was no evidence left. He didn't know I'd backed up everything to my sister's private server. Every sketch, every iteration, every timestamp proving the work was mine long before he claimed it. Julia had insisted on maintaining these backups when I first started experiencing computer issues right after my accident, suspicious of Nathan's sudden interest in organizing my files. Already accessing the files, Julia confirmed, her fingers flying across her keyboard. What about that recording from tonight? Send it to my lawyer along with the evidence of his financial fraud, I replied, watching the city lights blur past my window. And Julia? Let's also investigate his relationship with Vanessa. I have a feeling there's more betrayal to uncover. On it. Remember I work for that security firm now? I have access to their hotel booking data. I've had suspicions about those two for months based on their social media check-ins, Julia said, typing rapidly. I'll compile everything and send it to Attorney Wilson in the morning. The next morning, I walked into Nathan's office building, where I'd once worked before my accident. The security guard recognized me immediately and let me through with a sympathetic smile. He'd always been kind during my recovery visits. I walked into Nathan's office without an appointment. He was on a video call with Vanessa, his feet propped casually on the desk. He nearly fell from his chair when he saw me. Oh, Olivia, he stammered, ending the call. What are you doing here? I surveyed the spacious office, my gaze lingering on the framed Luminosity Award hanging prominently on the wall. Just admiring the empire your deaf and foolish little stepping stone helped build. Impressive. The color drained from his face. Olivia, this is my workplace. We should talk privately. Why? So you can recite more multiplication tables? I placed a USB drive on his desk. I'm just returning what's yours. What is this? His voice trembled slightly. Everything, I replied. All the startup capital records, the complete design files for Luminosity from initial concept to final execution, and of course, the audio from your beautiful proposal. He looked as though I'd struck him. When did you? When you were declaring your love via mathematics. That recording is quite clear. I walk to the award. I wonder what the competition committee will think when they discover their gold medalist plagiarized his deaf girlfriend's work. No, Olivia, please. He fell to his knees. I was wrong. I'll do anything. We'll get married right away. I'll put the house in your name. I laughed, the sound hollow. Marry you? You disqualified yourself the moment you decided to make me your personal joke. I played a snippet from the recording. Do you think she'll cry when you propose with the multiplication tables? After I get the Henderson contract, I might finally drop her. Nathan collapsed completely, crawling toward me. Olivia, you'll ruin me. I opened the door to find several colleagues gathered outside, listening. I had texted a few of my former co-workers who'd always been supportive, suggesting they might want to be near Nathan's office for an important revelation. I looked back at Nathan, then addressed them all. I'm not ruining him. He did this to himself. Events unfolded faster than I'd anticipated. By the time I left the building, news alerts were already lighting up my phone. Breaking. Rising designer Nathan Parker, accused of plagiarizing girlfriend's award-winning work. Exclusive audio. Design firm director emotionally abused deaf girlfriend for years. Parker Design. Faces financial collapse as investors pull out. My lawyer called to confirm the lawsuit for fraud and copyright infringement had been filed, demanding full repayment of funds plus damages. The evidence had been anonymously sent to the competition committee as well. Attorney Wilson had been my family's lawyer for years and had jumped at the chance to take my case on contingency when Julia contacted him with our evidence. The destruction of Vanessa came next. When I met her at our usual cafe 2 days later, having texted her that we needed to talk about recent events, she arrived with red-rimmed eyes, launching immediately into an attack on Nathan. He's a monster, Olivia. I had no idea what he was really doing. I stirred my coffee calmly. That's strange, because I distinctly remember you saying, "Do you think she'll cry when you propose with the multiplication tables? You seem to be enjoying the show." Her face paled. I was being sarcastic. I was trying to warn him. The same way you were warning him at the Blue Bay Hotel last October, or at West Mountain Hot Springs on New Year's, or in his car last month. With each location, she grew paler. My sister had found evidence of their 2-year affair through their corresponding social media posts and hotel booking records, all while Vanessa played the role of my supportive friend. You were spying on us? No more than you spied on me and played me for a fool. I set down my spoon. I'm sending all this evidence to your fiancé, Richard. Good luck explaining it to him. Richard was heir to a construction empire, known for his violent temper. He'd already been to jail once for assaulting a previous girlfriend he'd caught cheating. "No!" Vanessa shrieked, grabbing my wrist. "Please, I was wrong." Richard will become enraged. I removed her fingers from my arm. That's your problem, not mine. Everyone has to take responsibility for their actions. The consequences were swift and devastating. Nathan was fired and sued by his company. The competition committee revoked his award and demanded repayment of the prize money. Vanessa was publicly humiliated when Richard dragged her from her office, their confrontation becoming viral content within hours. 3 months later, when the court date arrived, I walked in wearing a crisp black suit, confidence in every step. Nathan couldn't even look at me, a broken shell of the man who had once mocked me so cruelly. The verdict was never in question. He was ordered to repay everything with interest, pay substantial damages, and face community service for fraud. The judge also awarded me full rights to the Luminosity design series, with the Henderson contract now legally transferred to my new design studio. As I walked from the courthouse into the bright sunlight, my sister nudged my shoulder. "Feel better?" I smiled, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. "It's all right, just a little noisy." The world had sound again, sometimes chaotic, sometimes harsh, but it was a world free of lies and mockery. Nathan sold everything he owned to pay me back before leaving the city, a disgraced and indebted man. His career in design was permanently over, with our divorce finalized the week before the court ruling. Vanessa, after her engagement was broken and her reputation ruined, also moved away after Richard's family filed a lawsuit that drove her family into financial trouble. I started my hearing rehabilitation, relearning how to navigate a world of sound. Through my sister's connections, I met some of the industry's top designers. My talent and my story earned their respect. I began designing under my own name my first collection titled Resonance. On the night of my debut show, as I stood on the runway bathed in applause, I heard each distinct clap, whistle, and cheer. In that moment, I knew the deaf, foolish girl was gone forever. Standing in her place was Olivia Patterson, a woman who could hear all the sounds of the world, discern the lies from the truth, and most importantly, make her own voice heard. The world was no longer silent, and it had never sounded so sweet. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles, zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.